Yes, we are live. And so if anybody out there is already watching us, my name is Jason Weeks, and I'm here with Martha Creek. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Jason. It's my absolute privilege and blessedness to be able to start my day with you.
Mine as well. You're one of my favorite people on the whole planet. And I am so, huh?
You better get out more.
So tell the world what you're drinking this morning. What kind of tea are you having?
The brand is Tezo. When I go on those tea aisles, it's quite overwhelming to me because I don't drink it all that much. I'm cutting back on sweet tea girl. So I'm about 2/3 to 1/3 now. So when I go pick tea, I'm looking for something that may be a little subtly nuancy sweet. And this is vanilla bean macadamia. And it's quite
And I'm having turmeric tea because the world says that it's good for you, and I'll take that advice.
Well, isn't that what we're here to discover today? What is actually true? So what if
Good segue.
What if whatever we're drinking is good for us? What if?
Well, before we dive in, I just want to welcome everyone again. If you're watching us, this is Tea Time with Jason Weeks. That's my name. I'm a staff member at Unity on the Bay. And with us today is Martha Creek, who is versed in the work by Byron Katie, among other things. And she's mastered inquiry. Can we say that?
That's to be determined. She's practiced inquiry. We can say that. She's practiced at inquiry.
And I'm going to read just a little bit of your bio so that anybody who doesn't know you can get familiar with you. And also, if you want to know any more about Martha Creek, you can go to her website, marthacreek.com, and we'll put that in the comment section later. But I'm just going to tell you a little bit about her now. It's Reverend Dr. Martha Creek, right?
Well, you know, I say if you study enough, you'll get some letters after your name. So that's
you got some before your name.
I got some before my name. I did. from studying more coursework and classwork and trainings. Yes.
You're always learning and evolving. So Martha is widely known in New Thought, and her trainings approach deep inner work as an adventure with a sense of curiosity and wonder. That's so true. She's a master of the art of right questioning. She calls forth the most stubborn and self-defeating patterns to create a new way of being, literally. She's ordained in religious science and divine science. She has served as Great Lakes Unity consultant and is a member of the member of Unity Institute facility or faculty. She has attended Emerson Theological Seminary, and that's where she got her master's and doctorate. She's been to the Byron Katie School for the Work, high five on that, and Hoffman Institute. She is a healthy congregations facilitator and trainer. And there's much more to you, I know, but that's just a short synopsis of who you are and what you've been up to. Is there anything you want to add to that?
I think we ought to do a shout out to Bug Tussle, Kentucky, and anybody watching from back there at home. That's where the Beverly Hillbillies came from. It used to be in the trivia. So on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee. So we're going to shed a little light on what makes us famous. We want to definitely include that Bug Tussle piece.
I love that. And I love your Southern accent. So for anybody who doesn't know how Tea Time works, Martha and I will just be chatting away, and on occasion we'll look into the comments section. And if you have any questions, you'll put them in the comments and we'll ask them live here while we're sipping our tea. But today's topic is what is absolutely true? And the reason we theme tea time that way is because of your background, Martha, in inquiry. So what is absolutely true? Um, what would you say is absolutely true, Martha?
Nothing in particular. I kind of warned you about that, honey, when you picked this topic, that it would be about a 3-second interview, you know. It's a mystical, I believe, to look at what's true. We can say, oh, I need food, I need food, I need food. That's absolutely true. Or the sun will rise tomorrow is absolutely true. And there's a lot of proof for that. You know, we look at whatever you believe in 2,000 years or since you were born 50 years ago, like, well, the moon has risen every single day and the sun rises every single day. It's like, so that's bound to be absolutely true. And it's like, well, the sun is there whether we see it or not. So we don't really know much about what's going on with that sun rising. And we can refer to science and say, oh, no, I have this explanation about the sun, and I know when the sun rises, and it's predictable, and all of that is factual. And there's also a lot going on with the sun and the moon, for example, that I don't know anything about, and the cause of it, and its purpose, and its life, and its cycles, and its effects, and that. And there's studies under every name for any topic: the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, the earth spinning that way and rotating that way all simultaneously, and the cosmos and cosmic order and chaos, and who's to say? And I'm a little careful, honey, when I refer to words like truth, because I don't know what the truth is. And I make up a lot about it, and the mind will make up a lot about what is true and then believe what it made up about it and call it the truth. And it's much more powerful for me and a lot less stressful to stay in a curious mind, an open mindset, a learner's mindset, an empty cup mindset, to say, you know, I don't know. I don't know. And it's very frightening to the mind to hear I don't know and to admit it. And we're desperately seeking some semblance of control, which is an illusion of control. And we've got our peace of mind hinged on that, to be that our power, then our value and our safety is hinged on figuring it all out, getting a formula for it, and then predicting and controlling it, instead of I don't know. And this was, I had coaches years ago that speak in terms of basic assumptions for your life. And they range from things like, I just can't, it's too much, it's overwhelming, to F you, I'll do it my way. And I know the best way, and my way is the best way, and these basic assumptions we take on as life. And one of them was, which was assigned to me from the coaching model, as I don't know. And when I heard that, I thought, oh, what a cross to bear from a student's mind. Like, I don't know, like if I just keep reading like books and books and books, and it all contains the Holy Grail. And even the Bible, like I'll just read and read and read and study and interpret and translate and metaphysics and whatever else to figure it out. And I went on for years believing that that was a problem, not to know. And somewhere along the way, I got a different mindset about that, which is the only absolute truth for me is I don't know. So what's going to happen in a minute? I don't know. What's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. How's this going to unfold? I don't know. And it's very stressful to believe that I do, and to make up that I do, and then believe it. And as I remember, like when the defining moment of shifting out of that, I don't know when I must, I don't know when I need to, I don't know when I have to to I don't know, period, period, period. And I've witnessed this with people now for years, thousands of people, and it's frightening. Initially, it's frightening, that shift to I don't know. And then it's very, very freeing, very, very liberating. And, you know, I often say, don't believe me either. Don't believe Martha Creek, you know, what she's claiming. So test it for yourself to see what just practicing and approaching life and approaching relationships, traffic, the body, aging, disease, profession, location, physical, where am I going to live? I don't know.
I don't know. I love that. And that's one of the things I love about Unity on the Bay. I may have shared this with you, but I was raised Baptist and then Pentecostal. I turned to Pentecostal, but then for a long time, I didn't belong to a church until I found Unity. And I just remember Reverend Chris being up there one Sunday preaching. And at the end of his sermon, he said, you know, don't believe anything I just said, or, you know, take it on yourself. And I had never heard that in a church. It was almost like whatever the preacher says is truth. And Unity gives you that option of saying, this might be true or not. Try it on. I love it. And the other thing I'll say is, you're right. Saying I don't know is scary, especially if you're in a work setting where things are expected of you or you're expected to know. And then you come out with this, I don't know. And everybody looks at you like you have three heads. Like, what do you mean you don't know? But I have been practicing it for a couple of years now. And you're right, it's liberating when you can say, I don't know, period. And just leave it there. So freeing.
That what you just described, Jason, as what some, and this is not true in Unity across the board. It's true in certain Unity centers that there's often an opening, like wherever you are on your spiritual path, you're welcome here. So that's been a very much appealing to me, which is then asking and encouraging people and supporting people to look at their own convictions. What is it you believe? And what is it you can explore what is actually true for you, and then not to have to try to adhere to a belief system or a dogmatic approach that says that. And we also in Unity take a lot of heat for that. Like it's that, oh my God, you don't believe anything. Oh my God, what is it you believe? And it depends on who you ask, you know, what the answer is going to be. But that's encouraging to me, and that's encouraging to others, that says, I'm here to explore what I believe. And as you said that, how you were raised, honey, I had a close friend once, and I asked them, what is it you believe? And because I believe if we got down to it, it would be, we would have more in common than we don't have in common. I believe there's very, very much in common with most faith traditions and most religions across the board, and its nuances, and that we don't have to agree, that we can still be friends and hang out and have a relationship and be in harmony and things like that, even though our belief systems don't line up exactly, that it could be here or there. And when I ask, like, what is it you believe? It's like that was so threatening to them. What do you mean what I believe? I'm a blank, you know, I'm a blank. And I said, well, what is it you, as a blank, you know, what is it you believe? It's like, and to a mind that's never really looked to see what we believe, then it just feels threatening. And I said, like, my heart was soft. I was compassionate. Like, I'm not challenging your beliefs. I'm just asking, what do you believe? Because I believe if we got down to it, we have a lot more in common than we have in difference. And finally, her response was that she kept getting angry and angry. So I could see that it was going the other way, not the way I intended. And I did not intend it to be a challenge. I really wanted to have exploration about it. And she finally said, I was born that way. And, you know, that's got some truth to it too. that we're wired a certain way. And we look in our families, and most people will have an experience of, they looked around at the family and went, oh my goodness, I'm an alien here. Like we're so different in certain ways. And my mama had, and shout out to anybody that knows Mama Creek. My mother had a saying that if I hadn't have birthed both of you, I would swear you couldn't be related. So that in the same family, eating the same foods, under the same roof, with very different belief systems, very different philosophies, very different approaches to things. And for me, until I allow all of that, until I make room for all of that, that I'm at war with everything that's not like me and my thinking and my way and what I believe. And it's like, that belongs to me. And then yours belongs to you. And everybody else's belongs to them. And that's also less stressful if I don't get into, there's a truth is a commodity, and it's limited. And once you have it, you have it, versus it's something much more ethereal, something very much broader and more cosmic and universal and not to be understood. And little t truth, or big T truth, as people say. And it's like, that's a very treacherous territory for me.
Yeah.
And I can't have much peace if I get off in there and start to claim that I know what the truth is.
And I love that Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of the Unity movement, said that I reserve the right to change my mind. And what we believe as truth today may not be truth 2 years from now, a day from now.
Exactly.
At one point, we believed that the earth was flat. There's people out there that still do, but, and it's like,
yes.
People believed if you sailed far enough into the ocean, you would fall to the earth, and they would go to their grave believing that. And look at where we're at today.
Yes, and that's a shining example of it. Even with 2,000 years now, 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, since that time, and with many, many circumnavigation experiences, direct experience since then, some bodies will go to the grave absolutely believing something else is true. So it's like, then so be it. So be it, let it be. And then I can be much more focused on, what am I actually believing and what's the consequences of what I'm believing. And stay in my own lane, so to speak, row my own Nina Penton area.
Yeah. I'm going to check the comment sections right now to see if we have any questions, but I just want to welcome anybody who's joining us for the first time. This is Tea Time. My name's Jason Weeks. I'm a staff member at Unity on the Bay, and I have the pleasure this morning to speak to my love affair and a great friend of mine and an amazing teacher, Martha Creek. And she wants you to know that she's from Bustuckle. What is it?
Bug Tussle. And you can Google it to prove it. If you want to know what's absolutely true, there is a Bug Tussle, Kentucky that exists. And if Google is enough for you to know, you can see it on a map. So go check it out for yourself, right on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee in the middle.
And so if you guys and gals have any questions as we're talking this morning, put them in the comments section and we're going to check them and get them answered for you if we can. So Angela, our dear Angela says, how about God is as an absolute truth?
Well, that's up to you, honey, because, God, the references to God are as old as creation, and a lot of beliefs around what God is and God isn't. And it does not work for some people, that I know for sure, that they have no reference for God. They do not want to hear the word God. They may refer to life, universe, creator. They even would argue against evolution. So to say God is can work for me, for you, for others. I pray it, actually. And I don't claim to know that it's what's true about that or that it is true. What I absolutely know, and the topic of our day is, it's not true for many. and that belongs to them, that everybody has the right and the responsibility to believe what they believe and to see it the way they see it. And whatever works for me is for my own path, for my own journey, and for my own life to unfold. And in my creation, with my relationship with Creator, and if I call it God, and I do, I also call it life and universe and that, because I want to meet people where they are. And I do not want to come across as my way is a better way, because I don't believe that. My way is a better way for me. And, when we talk even a lot about that, because then if you line up 1,000 people and ask them to describe God, they're going to describe it differently. They're going to describe it as nature, or relationships, or what's left of us, what cannot be threatened, what goes on in eternity or infinity, and other things. But we even have our nuances about those of us that claim we believe in God, or we know what God is, would describe it differently based on our own experience and based on our own belief systems. So use what works and use what makes your tail wag. And for me, I encourage, because it's my practice, to give up having to have my beliefs. Because as you pointed out, Jason, they're changing, and I want to go into this day willing also to change my mind, and not though based on pressure and comparison and what's the cool thing to do, but what am I actually convicted in? And that's been a very important life work for me, to actually look at what I believe and to align with my own convictions, and to be less and less allured and less impulsed, or less and less threatened or pressured to attempt to believe a way that is actually not true for me, versus just looking at what I do actually believe and then working there and accepting that also shifts over time.
Mm-hmm.
And
beautiful.
Hi, Angela. I'm glad you're here, honey. You keep up your good works too, and your meditations, and the way you're leading us in the world. I saw Trish is on there, honey, and Ann from New Jersey. Everybody that's watching, Jason will track for us. But I said my greatest love to you all.
Carla, Cody has a question, and she says, Deepak talks about being in the uncertainty. What does that mean to Reverend Martha? Or is that the same as not knowing the truth to her?
Well, it's similar, I think. The uncertainty is, like, I would say, if I had to answer like a word about what is true, what is absolutely true, then uncertainty is absolutely true. Uncertainty. And we have a great discomfort with that. And we're in a very big question mark, particularly right now, the uncertainty of this, and then all the data and all the this and that, and what's true and what's not. So the uncertainty, and it's what I mean by there's no way to know for sure. And I know for me, my emotional maturity and my spiritual maturity requires me to accept the mystery of it, to accept that uncertainty, and to grow myself up, and to be able to have an uncommon stamina and an uncommon motivation to be in the world, and not to be of the world, to be in the world, and to accept that uncertainty, and to not shut down my heart or my mind and my innovative, causative, generative capacities and potential, demanding certainty. And I can't. To demand certainty leaves me in a regressed mind, more afraid, more stuck, more trying to control, manipulating, instead of I accept the uncertainty of it, and I'm going to live as fully as I can, even in the uncertainty of it. And talk about risk. Talk about daring, to be able to risk losing it all to have it all.
I love that. I feel like that should be on a t-shirt. Risking it all to have it all.
Well, because there's nothing that we know of that doesn't end. So everything ends, everything ends in the physical, and it may be another topic for another tea time, honey, that I personally don't believe that it ends, that the physical ends, but I believe that there is an infinite, eternal quality, an eternal, infinite aspect of ourselves that would witness that physical ending. And so then the more we're trying to predict and control, the more stressful it gets, versus kind of throw up our hands. Like everything has a cycle, everything has a life cycle, and nature can teach us this, and has some of us. And I'm going to have a better life to live in uncertainty and to accept the terms of uncertainty, even with a mind, with an operating system that's demanding certainty and predicting and controlling. And it's like, can't do it, too stressful.
As you're speaking, I'm just thinking about how much suffering and time and energy we put into trying to make things certain. The contracts, the insurance, the prenups, it's like we want to cling on to this certainty because the uncertain can be very scary.
It is very, very scary, honey. And that's a perfect example of, and I'm asked this question quite a bit. Like, do you sign contracts? Do you have a will? And it's like, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And it's like, so do whatever would bring clarity in your mind, that would bring a sense of relaxation, a sense of safety, and accept that I don't get to say how this is going to go. So yes, I have insurance, and I don't know how it's going to go when the time comes. And you can listen all day to what I thought I had insurance, and then there was this little nuance about it, or somebody had a legal document in place, and somebody had a prenup, and somebody had a will, and it didn't go as planned. And we can talk all day about the stories that go in there with somebody that put up something legally, and then it didn't turn out the way that they had in mind. And it's like, I personally don't want my peace hinging on that. So, and I've been an organ donor since my very first driver's license. So I just, the 1 minute that I could get a driver's license, I was standing at the door to get in there to get them. And I'd been driving even before that. So St. Martha has broken many, many laws, including driving without a driver's license when she was too young to. And I have been a organ donor since that very time. And then I got to looking at my own attachments and what's so important to me. And it was my organs get donated, and to let life go on, to recycle the body parts so that some other life could have life from that. And then I found out over time that it doesn't go that way. And I watched friends that had legal documents in place for organ donation and things, and their family couldn't do it. Their families just couldn't do it. It was not in alignment with their belief systems. And I called even the Organ Donation Society and said, wait a minute, my God, like this was a legal document. And it's like, we're not going to go up against a family to get organs. So even though that was my conviction and my preference, and I've discussed it, I can't know that that's how it's going to go.
Yeah. There's nothing that's permanent and certain in this world. And
you just answered your own question.
Isn't that how it goes?
Well, for those of us that listening, yeah.
I just want to say good morning to everyone again who's watching and tuning in. I know it's early. And this is just a pleasure to talk to you, Martha. You always blow my mind wide open. And I love this way of living where we inquire to see what's true and what's not, especially those beliefs that are causing us stress and suffering. I heard, I'm not sure if you said it or I heard it somewhere else, but stress is like that alarm clock that's telling us you're believing something that's not true.
Yeah. Well, that's a very powerful, what would you call it, honey? A tenet, something to live by, a very, very profound principle to live from, that stress is itself an indicator to wake me up, to say, you're believing something that you've not questioned. You're believing something that's not true. So then stress, we can even be friendlier with stress. Like, oh my goodness, stress is here to awaken me. Stress is here to show me you're demanding something. You are willful. You are stubborn. You are expecting falsely. You're hoping falsely. And then life is reporting itself. Life is unfolding itself with, no, here's what's actual. Here's what's factual. And for anything that I don't include, for anything that I don't accept, anything I cannot change, then I'm going to be in stress over it. And then we live in chronic states of stress because this has been going on, you know, since creation. And some of us then are practicing now saying, you know, I'm going to make whatever contribution I can to my own peace of mind for whatever life I have here and whatever life assignment I have. And I believe, one of my beliefs is that I believe that it contributes to the whole. If you believe in quantum theory or quantum mechanics or the butterfly effect or whatever, then it's like the contributions I'm making within me, the contributions I make to awakening and questioning the mind is also contributing to the evolution, to humanity's evolution. And who knows if it's true or not. And I'm gonna go forward. That belief is fine with me.
It works for you today, and who knows if it'll work for you tomorrow.
Yeah, and even that's got a slippery slope, even if I said it, Jason, because it's like if I'm not careful, and this is actually a little belief I had, not a little belief, a belief that I had as a little kid, that the world is here to be saved. And it's like, it's you. And it's like, oh no, thank you. No, thank you. I'll click along here, do what I can, have some tea, have a chat, have some tea time. Catch myself, make amends, make apologies, do my best to get in my lane, stay in my lane. When I cross over that lane, get back in it as quick as I can. And I'm not here as responsible for the world, even this life, you know, to say that if I took responsibility for this life, it wouldn't be true, because I don't get to decide what this one's going to do, or when this one's, how this one's going, this life in me is going to be used or directed, or what it's going to be assigned to, and what its beginning and end is. That's not up to me either. Darn.
You mean I don't have all the power in my life?
Well, now you said that. I didn't. And I'd go with it. It sounds extremely wise to me. You might want to say it again and make sure all the listeners got a chance to hear
that. Excuse me. We have a comment here from Julia, and it's a comment / question, and I think this is actually a really good one for you to answer, Martha. She says, I've just been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. It's so very hard to keep my stress level low, as I am in the very beginning of this journey, have no idea what's up ahead for me.
That's right, honey. That means, Julia, that is your wisdom, honey. I don't know what's ahead of me. But see, just feel the power in that. I don't know what's ahead. I don't know what stage 4 means for me. I can read all the books about what stage 4 meant for somebody else. I know what stage 4 reports, and I cannot know what stage 4 means for me. I absolutely cannot know that. You cannot know that, Julia. And that came from you, honey, not from Martha Creek. That was right there in your comment. So please clip it out and put it on your mirror. I cannot know what this holds for me. I do not know what this holds for me. I do not know how this is going to unfold, but that's going to be a far less stressful on you, Angel, than if you go off into the horror of the mind and the terror of the mind, and it'll show you all these images about what cancer means and what stage 4 means and what comes next. And every image, it's nothing but a horror movie, a horror channel of an imagined mind that is pure images. And it's like, in the meantime, honey, you can hold a cup of tea and drink it and receive the tea and receive a sunrise and receive a family, whoever you can get to that can hug you, and just know I'm hugging you now. So receive that. And I don't know what cancer is going to do or what the journey through cancer is going to be, but I know what I'm going to be in the journey. And I'm going to, when I can, and you can, choose something besides stress. So then there's 2 ways to have stage 4. Stressed, uptight, nervous, panicked, afraid, terrorized, or I don't know how this is going to unfold. So today I'm doing fine. Today I'm up and about. Today I've got friends and loved ones. I've got a way to question my mind. And this work that Jason's referred to is free, and it's at thework.com. There's many, many examples of people taking their walk through cancer and other diseases. So as far as I know, honey, there's no one alive, there's nobody with a pulse that doesn't have a disease of some sort, a diagnosis of some sort. And for those of you that haven't had your diagnosis yet, then it's not your turn. That we take turns with this. And ain't that a blessing? Ain't that grace to say, we can take turns? So then I can support somebody, when it's their turn. And then I facilitate this work. So if you can come back, any of you listening, come back on Sunday from 5 to 7 Eastern time, 5 to 7 Eastern time on that marthacreek.com website, and it'll bring you right in there to a course, to a class and a facilitation that's 2 hours of where I'll take these stressful thoughts, your stressful thoughts, and guide you through this facilitated process. And it's there's no charge, no registration needed. You're welcome to just come on there and experience it for yourself. So love to you, honey. Thank you for asking. And what I can't say what I know about these things. I can say what I believe about these things is you don't have to do it alone. There's parts of it you'll have to do alone, but the majority of it you do not have to do alone, and you won't be alone to do it, and that you can't do it wrong. So it's going to unfold perfectly, not what you have in mind sometimes, not what you want, and not what you think you need. It will unfold perfectly instead, and it'll take longer than you like.
And I just want to add to that, Martha and Julia, if you're still listening, this isn't something that Martha hasn't had experience in. You received a diagnosis many years ago, Martha, and you've lived through this. And so, and I remember your story about it, and you flipped the script. You said, I'm not going to journey through this stressed and in fear. And I'm so inspired by that.
I did.
And you're right.
Yeah.
Everyone at some point is going to receive that diagnosis or that bad news. It's like, who do we want to be through that?
Well, that's where the power lies, Jason, in that question. And a very powerful question, which is, okay, I didn't pick this. I don't, and here it is. So how can I be with it differently? And the victim archetype is the strongest, oldest archetype there is, which will quickly turn into a villain archetype. And it's like, okay, then here's what's in front of me. Here's what's up. Here's what's unfolding. And my power, all the power in the universe lies within you. lies within me to say, if there's free will, that's another tea time topic, I guess, too. If there's free will, that I have a choice then, not of what happened, not what I get, but how I'm going to be with what I have. And then there's two ways then to go through this stage 4, which is terrified, stressed, or I'm going to use all the sensibility I have. I'm going to meet it with some understanding. I'm going to experience it differently. So I'm going to be with it in a way that's new, in a way that's radical, in a way that's less afraid and less dis-eased. So I'm going to be looking at all the ways I can have ease, greater ease, even in the dis-ease. And there's a lot of power and infinite potential in that mindset and in that approach.
A much more liberating way to live.
Yes, which really motivates me. That is a primary objective of mine.
And you live it so well. You are a living example of the power of the work.
Well, thank you, honey. I've been practicing this, studying it, learning it, applying the principles of it for decades now, over 20 years. So, and the glimpses I get, and I still have stress. So if any of y'all ain't asked that question, you can just not ask it, because the answer is yes. I'm still stressed, and so is everybody else with a pulse. So there's nobody here on the earth without some stress or some anxiety or fear, because it's hardwired in us. And then not to overlook the inertia of 2,000 years, whatever you believe about creation, all of the inertia of that, of this notion that there's bad and good, and that is so bad, and that is so bad. And until I make room for that, that includes that in the reality of what is, there's times of illness and times of wellness, and the body seeking in every way to balance itself, to renew, to build immunity, to do those things. And there's times they like me and times they don't, and times they'll include me and times they won't. And there's inhale and exhales. It's both and alpha and omega. And somewhere in there, we drew this tidy little torturous line down the middle and said, I'll have that and I'll have none of that. And then believed what we made up. So then we live as hostage to that binary filing system that's false. And until I take that line down and include it all, then I'm going to be at war with something anytime I don't get what I want.
The alpha and the omega, it's all of it.
And not just theoretically, honey. It's one thing to say, oh, yes, alpha and omega. It's another thing entirely to experience it.
Good morning, Alina. I saw that you joined us. We love you too, Alina De La Paz.
Hi, honey.
I wanted to run through real quick. I just wanted to read some of these universal beliefs that are off of Byron Katie's website. I'm just going to read through them. And if you're watching today and one really pings you, I'd invite you to inquiry about it. Like Martha said, you're doing a workshop. When is it again?
Sunday, the next 2 Sundays, 5 to 7 Eastern, and the details for how to get in the class is on the website, Martha Creek website.
Yeah. So these are some universal beliefs. I need to know what to do. We kind of talked about that earlier. I know what is best for others. Something terrible is going to happen. People should respect me. That's a good one. People should respect me. Life isn't fair.
Well, just pause there a minute, honey, if you can, because like any one of these is pure living torture. Any one. So you've got a page of them there. That's just some of the most common universal beliefs, when the truth is most of our beliefs are universal beliefs. And any should opposes what is. Any should opposes reality. And guess who wins? When we go to war with reality, yes. So it's going to be stressful to say something should have happened that didn't, or something better happen. So don't count on it. Don't count on it. Maybe not.
Yeah. I love this. I keep this list handy because I just love looking at it because it triggers me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm totally believing that. Like money will make me happy. There's another universal belief.
Well, and we look at that, honey, like look at that, just how far in this, and again, nobody's here this morning to try to talk anybody out of a belief system, but to encourage you to look at the beliefs and to believe in something like that, like money will make me happy. And it's like, you've got more money today. Most listeners have more money today. Think about how much money you had when you were 18. It's like just happy as Pete, clicking along. And that, and then it's like, then you get a double salary, then a triple salary, then you lose the salary, then the salary goes back to half, or it goes back to a third, and now without a salary. And there's happiness is like the wind. It's there and it's not there. And it's like, oh, I'm happy for a moment. It's like, well, I'm not happy now because I've lost it. It's like, right. So as long as that happiness is hinged on anything substance, anything external, then it's at risk. And for me, then even that's its own torture, that we should be happy. Be happy. Just be happy. Just choose happiness. Be happy, happy, happy. It's like, well,
be positive.
Be positive. And then nobody alive can be positive all the time. So then it's fake positivity, fake happiness. And these personas and these smiles of like, be happy, happy, happy all the time, when it would be like saying, well, only inhale. Don't exhale, just inhale. No, not possible. And boy, some of you are testing it right now to see, like, take a big deep breath and hold it till this tea time's over and see how that goes for you. So that, no, I don't get to hold the breath. The breath is breathing me. Something is breathing me. And something is thinking me also. So then my power, my possibility, my potential lies in catching those thoughts and seeing, what's the consequences to me if I continue to believe that? And then what's the potential for me? Who would I be to just let this thought be, to have this thought, if it had no effect on me? If I could watch the thought and discern between thinking and who I am, and some space between observing thought, and I can't be objective about the thinking and subject myself to it at the same time. So some practice at getting more objective. What thought caused that? I felt tense, stressed, constricted, unhappy, upset. What thought caused that? And this works at the level of cause. So the feelings are effects. And we spend a lot of time and energy and money and therapy working at the level of feeling. And feelings have their own life, and they're to be made room for. As Dr. David Hawkins would say something like, it's like all the animals, the barn is full of animals, and the door opens and they all come stampeding out. It's like, that's the nature of feelings. And it's like no sane person's going to step in front of that herd of animals running out, but to give them some space and allow the feelings, allow them to come, accept that it's part of my humanness, it's part of the human learning processes, And then eventually, when we can, to say, now, what thought is causing that? And then what belief system is causing that? Because that started with a thought in the beginning, there was thought. And then it went from thought to then it was thought, which becomes a belief system, a belief, and then a belief system, which I refer to as, then that's our BS, that's our belief system. Then it's like, that's this work is to get in there and chisel away at that, to inquire, to shed a light on there, to say, what's actual about this? What is actually true about this? And then eventually it becomes a story. Then it becomes a paradigm. And then it becomes a worldview. And then it's a mindset, a framework. And if we don't intentionally dismantle that old framework and get a new framework up, then we live under the consequences of a very archaic belief system, and certainly a stressful one.
And these belief systems, and these thoughts, they're cunning and sly, and like some of them you don't even realize you have. And I'll give you an example. Like, I'll never forget that time that you and I had dinner and I was going through some health challenges with my heart, and you leaned over the table and patted my hand. You say, "Oh, honey, where did you get the belief that it's your heart?" And that just blew my mind, because, I'm thinking, oh, this is my body and I'm in control of it and I know what's best for it, and it should be healthy. And that was a belief that I didn't even realize I had. Right. That this is mine, that this thing that people call Jason is mine or me.
Yeah. And, and then that looks like it's the both and, you have sensibilities, not to touch a hot stove because and then we'll still touch some hot stoves throughout our life. So there's some learning, to be done about that. And then it's like, at some point, then I'm going to care for it. I'm going to be as responsible as I can. And then somewhere along the way, I can't be responsible for it, my own life, even that it's being directed under something larger than me, something beyond me will decide or has determined what's going to go on in that heart. And then when it's my turn, then honey, for your heart, the shape that you were in. So then you've got the care that you can't care for your own heart if you're believing that it's what you are. If we misidentify with the body as being who we are and being what we are versus, no, this is an aspect of us. And then the heart, the wisdom of the heart to keep doing what hearts do, and to rebalance itself. And my God, that's its own topic too. Look at this, the mechanics of the heart, and when my mother had heart issues, heart disease, and the physicians referred to it as, I'm the doctor that takes care of the plumbing of the heart, and I'm the doctor who takes care of the electric of the heart. So then the heart has an electrician and a plumber. And it's like, oh, what? How dare you? How dare you? Like, and it's like, well, no, that's the mechanics of the heart. Mm-hmm. And that then if we accept that, then it's like, oh, I'm going in. And this dear woman from last Sunday, one of the church services last Sunday, said, I'm going in for a cut and paste this week. So, and it's like, and she's using that on purpose to keep from identifying with that's who I am versus, no, it's under repair. The body's in repair. The body's under repair. And it's going to be an easier time with it if you don't identify it as who you are or that it belongs to you. And then therefore you get to determine how it's going to go, or you get to say what better be. And it's like, that's more stress. That's more dis-ease. And it's a state of surrender that is radical.
So next time you go in to get blood work, you're getting your oil checked. I love this.
Well, and I'm careful about saying it, even, honey, then people say they like, why bother then, just abuse the body? And it's like, no, 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 no. Do everything sensible you can. If you have allergies, don't eat things you're allergic to. If you absolutely know something is poisoning you, then don't drink it. Don't eat it. And accept then the body's going to do what the body does. And which is often teased, and I take quite a bit of heat for this, and I understand it, it's fine. That a very, very bitter pill when people have done everything by the book, by the formula, what they've eaten, their food plans, their diets. I've never eaten a bite of fat in my life. I've never had a cigarette. I've never even been in the room with somebody with a cigarette. Somebody will say, this is true to my experience. A woman had declared this to me, and I'm going to see her in a pastoral visit, and she had lung cancer. And the bitter, bitter pill of believing that you can prevent that, which doesn't mean that there's not consequences and cause in that, and what science reports on that. And then I don't get to pick what's going to be in my experience. And I absolutely know some of you listening believe that you can. And as long as it works for you, knock yourself out. Just believe it till you believe it as long as you can. And then one day, regardless of how much celery you've eaten, then you may get a heart disease diagnosis. And then this work, and my encouragement is that on that day, whenever that day is, where your formula didn't work, that you can be on solid ground about that. That just because it didn't go as planned, or as you wished, or as desired, or wanted, or worked for, that there's a solid ground. That's not just theoretical. That we can be on or closer to when it doesn't go our way, or when our formula didn't produce the results we believed it would, or we're even committed to.
I could talk to you all day, you know this, but we're nearing the end of our time here. So I just want to say to anybody who's listening, if we are watching, if we didn't get to your question, I'm sure Martha will, well, I'm not sure if Martha will go into the comment section and get those questions answered for you.
I definitely will. Thank each and every one of you that paused here to participate. I bless and know and encourage you to really use any tools that are working for you in your life, to continue to use them, and to be open to trying new things also, to not let the mind stop you from trying something that could really make a difference in your life, in your ease, and in your relationship with what is, with creation, creator, and your own liberation. So try it and see. Test it for yourself, not because Jason and Martha think it's grand, but I'm going to test it to see. And
next Saturday at 8 a.m., I'll be back here with another guest and friend of mine, Amy Baez. She's a pediatric occupational therapist, and we're going to be talking about the spiritual practice of play. Because thumbs up to that. So hopefully you can tune in next Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern. We'll be back here for tea time. Bring your tea, bring your coffee, or whatever beverage brings you comfort. Hopefully not alcohol at 8 a.m. But again, Martha, thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom with us. And I do invite everyone who's watching to please go to Martha's website. I'll put that in the comments section after we end here. There's a lot of resources there, and you can also find out how you can connect with Martha and do the work and try this on for yourself.
Yeah. So, blessings to you all. Yeah. Thank you, Jason, again, honey, for including me, for the work you do in the world. and the work you do within you in your world. And as we create a saner, simpler, more stable world within us, then it's possible to experience the external world with more sanity and clarity and ease and grace. And that website has hundreds of free podcasts and videos. You're welcome to use them, learn from them, teach them, share them, send them out to the world. And I have a desire for these empowered teachings to reach the whole of humanity. So share them in any way that you can. Subscribe to the newsletter, which is at the website, a YouTube channel, many free videos there, and share that with the world too. So together we can do what I cannot do alone, and together we can do what cannot be done alone. Blessings, everybody.
Blessings. I love you, Martha. Have a great day.
Love you, Jason. You are our love affair, honey, my love affair.
Bye.
Bye for now.